And joining us right now is Newsmax Prime's J.D. Hayworth. And J.D., we wanted to meet with you because some interesting comments made over the weekend from our field of presidential candidates for 2016.
And I am happy to offer interpretations to you to decode what it is they said or really intended to say.
I always love getting your insight on that.
Yeah, let's take a look first. Possible presidential candidate. We have to say possible because he's not officially in the race yet. Jeb Bush took an aim at Democrats in a commencement address at Liberty University over the weekend. Let's take a listen.
Our friends on the left like to view themselves as the agents of change and reform, and you and I are supposed to just get with the program.
Now, J.D., while Jeb's message was clear, and it was obviously speaking to the evangelicals there at Liberty University, I found there was a pretty stark contrast between that speech and Ted Cruz's announcement speech. The crowd, I don't know, different venues, of course, a commencement versus a campaign kickoff, but not a lot of enthusiasm from that crowd. It was almost polite enthusiasm.
Well, yeah, again, it is commencement day. And so you would expect it to be I don't know, it's pretty exciting when you finally get out of school, but maybe that crowd a little more reserved. I think that you have to remember previous speaking engagements at Liberty University, Ted Kennedy back in the late 80s, and John McCain in kind of a make good after he and Jerry Falwell had a falling out in the 2000 campaign. But it's obvious Jeb is trying to at least make an effort to set up this big tent, and he wants to do it with evangelicals. There are some groups of evangelicals who believe in open borders and amnesty and who believe in global warming. He's reaching out to those folks, which is why perhaps there was a restrained reaction at Liberty University this past weekend.
And that was that interpretation. Thank you for that. Now,
Indeed.
moving on along, Raul Castro, after a meeting with the Pope, says he may consider rejoining the Catholic Church. Likelihood this is going to happen?
You know, I can lay claim to a lot of things, but divine insights I leave to God.
It's in God's hands? That's it?
It is, but I will say this.
Should we move to Bernie Sanders?
No, I will just say this about Raul.
Okay.
And sitting down with the Pope, having that audience. Raul did receive training, I believe went to a Jesuit high school. In stark contrast to his brother Fidel, who is faithful only to the communist doctrine, I think you see Raul making an effort to make some changes, and it may have been indeed inspirational as he got off the plane and had a chance to meet with the Holy Father. I mean, you can take a look at the predecessors of Pope Francis. I mean, well, seriously, you know, think about John Paul II.
Right.
Going in to sit down with a man who tried to assassinate him. So whatever the politics, the Pope may have been engaged in some proselytizing with Raul, and I think altogether that's a good thing.
Yeah, and a lot of people in Cuba, you know, have Catholic backgrounds, and so it makes sense. That's why Pope John Paul went there as well when he was the pontiff. Now, also, we love to play Bernie Sanders sound bites, not just the ones from the Hollywood movies that we featured him in. But here he is talking about challenger Hillary Clinton and also the GOP's Carly Fiorina. She says Clinton is a hypocrite on women's rights. Let's take a listen. Do we have? Oh, it's just video. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought we had a soundbite.
You know, it's too bad. Usually my friends from Vermont like to sit down and listen to sound bites with Bernie Sanders and hear how many times he talks about the poor and the elderly.
Good impression.
The poor and the elderly.
Don't underestimate me.
Hey, pretty good.
I knew I'd get it.
Great, now's your chance. Yeah. Oh, you could have done a voice. Oh, gee.
Oh, okay. I don't have a good Hillary Clinton.
No,
She's tough to do.
We'll work on it. I can do this. That's it.
That's
it.
Well,
all I got.
Carly Fiorina also picking up some new
it.
domain names over the weekend. Anybody who's criticizing her. And I thought that was a good comeback on her part.
I did too. I thought it was pretty clever.
The thing about Carly, and this is it doesn't occur in a vacuum. The rough treatment she got in the boardroom at Hewlett-Packard and all the corporate politics prepared her. And she is doing quite a job taking people like Chuck Todd and others to task over domain names, and also making a point about Hillary. Absolutely, Hillary is a hypocrite. You can go back, aside from recent celebrated things, go back on the issues. Back in the early 2000s when she was running for Senate from New York State, she was against illegal immigration. Then you saw her last week in Las Vegas trying to move to the left of Mr. Obama, welcome in those likely leftist voters. So, yeah, Hillary is a hypocrite, not exactly a bulletin, but it is interesting to see exactly who points that out.
And she chose yesterday to call for pay for women to stay home for maternity leave. And again, keeping with this whole Cinco de Mayo theme when she made the announcement to immigration, it's just so obvious sometimes you know, even though her message might
You just
be,
think she's trying too hard.
I think it's just coming across as just too planned, too
Well,
calculated.
and that's
too
right. So
obvious.
get ready for Father's Day when she'll talk about her fatherhood initiative. It's all
Mark your
coming
calendars,
All right.
folks. Too
Oh,
predictable.
We'll have you
perhaps.
back on.
But before that, remember Newsmax Prime tonight
Yes.
at 8 p.m. Eastern and again at 8 p.m. Pacific as we deal with a whole lot of stories of prime interest here on Newsmax
We will be
TV.
watching,
Always good to
JD.
have you, JD.
Thank you very much.
Great to see you.
When we come back, a high school teacher hailed as a hero. Just